Hello, and thank you for joining me today. We are going to play with this cute ladybug stamp set and coordinating punch today. And I'm going to show you, in addition to a really cute layout, I'm also going to talk to you about how you can get some extra sparkle and bling because this is an insect. And, insect shells are going to be shiny. So we definitely have to have some sparkle and bling on this card. This stamp set has a stamp that would create the bug body and the wing for it. And then it's also got this coordinating punch that will punch out the bug body and the wings. And then it's got some other stuff that you might use just to create scenes. So you've got a big leaf, you've got some flowers, you got another flower here, which, by the way, coordinates with one of the other punches that Stampin' Up! Has. It coordinates with this small daisy punch. And then it's got some fun sentiments, and I love a sentiment that has the block letters and the script letters combination. Let's talk about some of the stuff we're going to use product-wise to make it a little bit sparkly. So I wanted a way to showcase these Shimmer Vellums. They come 5 different colors, I think, in the pack, and I'm down to only 3. These are the new in colors that came out a year ago in April, and they will continue on for the next year. In colors are in a 2-year cycle. But I'm using 3 of these in the on this card, and look at, can you see the sparkle and shine on this? Isn't that cool? And then of course vellum is translucent, so we are also going to have a conversation about adhesives before we finish up with the project here. And then to get a little bit more sparkle on it, I'm going to use these Artistry in Blooms self-stick sequins, which are really fun. They come 4 colors in the pack, and I'm actually going to use this color because it matches one of the colors of the vellum that I'm using, although I was really tempted to do that one because that matches that soft succulent, but I am going to go with the pale papaya. So I'm going to start you out right away. Usually I have you watch and then I show you the finished project. I'm actually going to start by showing you the card to begin with, and then I'm just going to talk you through a few of the things that are issues. So for example, on this one, I started with the adhesive. Remember vellum, it's translucent. So I started to put the liquid glue underneath, and you can actually see where that liquid glue is. Over here, I used my tape runner, and I decided I liked that better because it was more even coverage underneath as opposed to seeing this little line down here. The flower is actually held on with a glue dot that's hidden underneath this sequin, so that's all perfect. And then as far as this vellum is concerned, this one is only adhered. It's only got adhesive on it underneath the flower and underneath the bug. Okay, let's talk about some of these issues again. Remember I said that adhesive for vellum is an issue. This is my tape runner underneath here, and you can see why I decided to not use the tape runner and to only put adhesive underneath where the ladybug is going to actually go. I have enough parts that I'm actually not going to even use the ladybug in my hand again because I put the glue underneath, but I can see that line of glue, and I decided not that I didn't like that. However, I've got these 2 here, and I wanted to speak about one more thing. Vellum is translucent, so you're going to see the glue through it, but it also is a really tight fiber paper so that ink doesn't sink into it very easily. So on that one, I stamped the ink, but you can see that it's pretty dull with the background of the sparkly from the Shimmer Vellum. But it also took forever to dry, and I smudged and got ink on. I ruined a couple pieces of paper because I touched it, had ink on my finger, touched the paper, and so anyway, for that reason, I thought, well, since I'm making 8 of these, I didn't want to have to let it sit overnight, so I thought, well, I'm going to try doing some heat embossing on there. And that is just like, whoa, the right decision, because look at that. Isn't that awesome? So I ended up heat embossing all of these, and I've got 2 of them ready to go, and I've got 1 more because, again, I just want to show you a couple of tips and tricks. I want to show you if I'm mass producing and doing a whole bunch of these, I want to talk about stamping the dots on here. This is my Stamparatus, and here's those dots that are going to put the dots on the wings. If I was just doing 1 or 2 or 3 of these, I would have just stamped on the shimmer paper and then punched it out. But because I'm doing 3 per card and making 8 of them, and it was a ton, it was just a whole lot faster to use my Stamparatus. It's going to be ink stamp. Put the next one in. Ink stamp. It goes a whole lot faster. But I needed to make sure it was perfectly lined up. So I took one of the holes, and I can lay my punched out piece in there, and then I can come back and ink it up because I know it's perfectly lined up. So I know this is off camera, but I'm inking up my stamp. Come down, press hard, transfer the ink. Assume I got it good the first time. If I didn't, I can always put it back in. So there we go. Now, you saw me, oh, I didn't need to put that away. You saw me ink it up with Memento, and Memento is actually juicy enough that it will let the embossing powder stick. I keep my embossing powder in a plastic tub like this. And let me pick this thing up. So I'm just going to actually stick it right in here and pick up embossing powder all over the wings. And now it is ready to heat set. Isn't that fun to watch it turn all shiny like that? Okay, the right adhesive for the right job. We're going to put a glue dot behind the flower. Should also mention there's a right and wrong side to this shimmer paper. So you can see the shine on here, but if I turn it over to the back side is flat. So if you're working with this stuff, just, I mean, you'll notice, but pay attention just in case you don't notice. I do love this silicone craft mat. Definitely needed today because I'm going to go over the edges. I know I'm going to take my glue accidentally past the edge of this little wing, and I don't want to get any adhesive on my wood base down there. See how easy that goes on? I tore that one. Vellum is a thinner material, so I'm going to go with this one anyway. Now I'm going to put my liquid glue behind the head of the ladybug and just behind the flower. So both the backing layer and the sentiment itself were punched using the tailored tag punch. I love it when you can turn one punch to doing double duty. It's easy to make this punch create its own frame. I'm just going to cut that right in half and put my adhesive on the back side of the sentiment. Bring this back in. And then I can hold the base and just get them lined up here so that it looks like it's pulled aside and it's framing it on the top and the bottom. And that'll make it set off from the card base. And then this is going to go into that space down there. Now, what I found works best is to place this on last. I'm going to put these two on first. And here I'm going to put adhesive on the square, and I'm going to put enough on. I'm not actually putting any on the body, but that'll work just fine. So I want to make sure I'm parallel here with the edge of the card. And then the one on the other side. And again, I want this parallel with the side of the card, and I also want to make sure that it's level going across. And I want to make sure the amount of space white that I have on the right is matched with the amount of space white that I have on the left. Now, this has to be within the confines of the card itself, but it's going to be raised up a little bit. And you can see there's going to be some overlap with the wings, but when I slip it in, I want to make sure it goes under those wings, and I want the wing on the top one to be on top of that. So the wings are going to be on the top, the rest of it underneath. And then when I place it on here, what I'm going to be eyeballing is the white space. So I'm going to make sure that I have about the same amount of white space on either side here. And then it's just going to go down far enough that the body of the ladybug is not going to be above the body of the card. Move that a tad to the right. Okay, so then those layers are all in. And then we will come back and put our sentiment in. And again, this is going to go under the body of the bugs, the butterfly or the ladybugs, which is partly why I didn't glue their bodies down. And just make sure that's centered on the card. We've got 2 things left to do to finish this off. I'm going to bring in these artistry gems, and I'm just going to add 1 to each of the flower centers. So we've got the shine from the shimmer paper, we've got the shine from the sequins, and we're also going to get some shine from this gorgeous ribbon down here. I want to make a sweet little bow, tiny little bow to put on the corner. Isn't that fun? Put this on with a glue dot, and then our card is finished. Maybe I'll trim these a little shorter. Now this layout, you can use this layout of, I call this a triplet, where you've got 3 of something kind of repeating, and of course it's repeating and twisted, but you have these 3 little ladybugs crawling across your card. And so isn't this a fun card? I love the high contrast between the white and black with those really intense colors of the pink. I love the sparkle from the Shimmer Vellum. You get a little bit of sparkle here with these sequins and the ribbon. This card is really special. I also think it's a fun layout. Now, you guys have often asked me about layouts, and do I have layouts that I can share with you? And the answer this week is yes, I do. I do have a layout with the dimensions and a picture of the card as a sample for how you can do this on a worksheet that I'm going to email out to everybody who's on my email list. So if you're not on my email list, follow the link up there in the description, or if you're on YouTube, it'll be down there. But get on my email list and you will have this mailed to you if you're doing it this week. This is prepared for a live on my Facebook page for February 21st of 2022. So if you're watching this on YouTube after that and you join my email list, you may or may not get this one as the thank you for joining the list. But okay, hey, thanks. We will talk with you next Monday. Bye.